Dude, you clicked on it when it said don't watch this. You know why I say don't watch this? Because you're not going to be able to unsee the inventions and the cool things that we do and put on the cars that we build. We are having so much fun. This is Studio Hot Rods, Restoration Revelations. And we're always coming up with new gadgets, gadgets, that kind of stuff. Check it out. Just last week, I came up with this idea to put these little gap masters, right, inside the door panels of the cars instead of putting in a whole set of seals. Guys, if you're a body shop, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't do the body work with the seals in it, it is very difficult to get everything to line just up straight. This thing goes really easy. Check it out, it's so simple. You put it on here, you don't even need seals or anything, boom, boom. It'll lock that door in place and it's perfect. And then, these are the little gap tools. Actually, when you're setting your gaps on your doors, you set these in place, and then you can move it around and you have a reference point for what's going on. This is the master gap tool that I actually give away for free too. At the end of the episode, stick with me, watch along, follow, and like, subscribe, and click this link, and I'll ship you one of these for free. Anyways, this is gonna be a crazy cool week because I'm diving in hard to exactly how we approach the Chevelles that I build. Look at this mess. We just pulled Tubby out of here and it's going to the other building, and I'm gonna take you there. I'm gonna show you exactly how we build the chassis and walk these cars through the process. It's pretty darn cool. You're not gonna be able to unsee it, trust me. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention at the end we do a cool Bible study together. Join me for that. Man, there's more to life than just what you see. This is gonna be fun. Okay guys, here we are at my fab shop, and at the fab shop what we do is actually prep the chassis for the cars, but you got to make a lot of decisions about what you're going to do in the cars and what you're going to have useful in the chassis first, right? That's kind of like the basis, the foundation of your house. Here's what we do. All of them get boxed in, right? We add all these gussets and reinforcement. Nobody in the world actually has a kit exactly like I do it because I have modified it and changed it. This is where our cross member lays in, but I've had these chassis right now prepped and ready. I've got a couple motors at the other shop that are gonna go, I think it's Tubby and maybe this one. I gotta look at it, but what you do is you select your drive line and your transmission, and then what you're gonna do is set the chassis up to be able to handle that in the perfect position to optimize it, because you've gotta make that engine flat and smooth if you wanna get the right pinion angle. So as we nest it all together, the boxing and all the work on here can happen. So this all lays together real nice. This is even my batwing bar. This is my specialty design product. So once you got this all set up, what you got to do next is you got to actually make the body fit correctly on the chassis, and that takes a lot of extra components that you actually got to make. Again, they're different if you're using an LS motor or the LT4. Those are my two choices at this point in time. Let me show you some cool parts that we made. Look at right here. These are the tunnels that we pre-made that are ready to go in. Oh, these things are heavy duty. I don't know if I have to go that heavy duty on them. These are pretty darn sweet. I'm actually gonna offer these up for sale at this point in time. Specially designed for an LS or an LT4, any transmission you want with it. This will give you the floor clearance you need to get the engine at the right angle. Pretty sweet. Handmade, handcrafted, hand designed, and we did it right here. Let me show you one more piece. Well, two more. Hold on a second. All right, guys, a lot of places have a lot of very sophisticated tools. Mine are not as sophisticated as, you know, a guy with a total CNC shop. So we do a lot of hand craftsmanship work, but these are what we call the thong. This actually holds the wire harness for the LT4. People have been contacting me saying, can I buy those? I'm like, never planned on this. I really didn't. But anyways, these are gonna become available. I'll show you where they go in the car later in the episode. With the LT4, hides all the wires as the wires from the OEM harness slide down behind here, and the fuse box panel goes, it's a really good design because I have to have a purpose on everything that we're building, like this. Look at this heavy duty trans mount support. Holy crud. This cross member, I should start working out again. This thing is actually heavy duty. It's like an I-beam, but it's part of the structural component that we build that goes in with our cars. So the cross member changes depending on what type of transmission. If you're using the Tremec 5-speed or the 6-speed or the 6L or the 8, it doesn't really matter to me. As long as I know what you want, we just put it all together and we get it nested up together right into the chassis. Does that make sense? So we have now designed it to actually all come together quite nicely, and before we've even taken the first car apart. Chassis done, because I swapped the chassis, it doesn't matter. I got really clean, good chassis, we move on. This is our chassis jig that we handmade. Genuine I-beams, totally flat, totally level, and as we put the chassis on here, we jig it all up So we make sure everything's really square and straight as you weld it and put it together. You know, it's kind of like old school meets new school. You know, we are a craftsman shop that really focuses on an intentional build. I hope what I'm teaching you is you gotta have a plan. Really gotta have a plan. Let's go hop over to the other shop and we're gonna dig into the running gear, the wheels, the tires, some of that other kind of things as you put it together, because if you put the wrong spindles in it, you can't use these wheels, or you gotta use those. I'll explain it to you when we get there. Let's head back over to the main shop. I just realized I missed one thing while we were here. These are the rear ends. So we buy these rear ends and then we fit them with all the hardware and the details, exactly set it up so you get that 4-link in the Chevelle. It's already prepped and ready to go. Everything that is put on here is actually put in a fixture that we designed, just like that chassis jig. We fixture that all up so it actually goes up and down super smooth and super straight. Again, when I say American craftsmanship, we got it. All right, now we can go to the other shop. We call this car the Black Pearl. I absolutely love this car. We did a couple things with it that make it unique. So most resto mods, you see the big rims and little rubber on it. You know what that means? You're gonna have a really hard ride, and it's awful hard to tune the suspension to give you the ride quality that you're looking for. But this is iconic because I have fit it with a little bit smaller brake and a different spindle. This is an OEM style spindle with a 2-inch drop in the front. And what you're looking at here is a gorgeous, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like you'd never know that this thing had an LT4 with 850 horsepower under the hood with a Brian Tooley cam and DOD delete. You'd never know. And the wild exhaust that I put on it. I'm gonna get to all that stuff as we move along, but you could never put these Krager setups on some of the aftermarket chassis that are out there. Maybe if you called them and said, can you make it with the different spindles, they probably could do it, but the C7 or the C6 Corvette ones will not fit this style. So it's all about purpose. You got to make the decisions of how you want to build your ride before you start. I can't explain it to you enough. It's the most critical thing. Like when we do a lot of our builds, we literally will get the tires and rims and going in their position before we're doing anything. You know why? Because they gotta move. They gotta be able to go up. They gotta be able to go down. You gotta be able to go around a corner. They can't rub. They can't hit. Awful. How many cars you guys see? It's like that. So let's take a look at the special configurations that we make and we do to get the different engines in place so they can breathe correctly. Actually, I got a couple. Remember in the beginning? I'll show you those. Those are cool. Obviously, these are brand new engines that we bought directly from General Motors. This is the LS3, 525 horsepower, going in the car right there. And this one's going in the black tubby, it's going in that car. And you saw those chassis at the other building. They're already set up in the perfect configuration of where they actually got to go in the car. That's a huge deal, guys. It's the plan. You don't figure it out and you don't change it. Once you kind of pick your path, man, you don't want to change it too much. We 3D print all these parts and we custom make the air tubes. This is a K&N style filter. It's actually a C7 Corvette air filter that we modified into parts that we printed. Here's the LT4 configuration. These are both for sale on our website. This is cool stuff. Let me tell you, because a lot of guys on these air filters put those little tiny air filters and they choke them out. Terrible, bad idea. It's gorgeous, but this is all integrated. This goes into the inner fender well. So how it's set up, like from the beginning, I have figured all these parts out. Speaking of parts, I gotta show you guys some more parts. Like you see this car right here? We're gonna be flattening out the whole firewall. So I've got the firewall and some of the other widgety parts. There's lots of parts I'm not offering for sale at this point in time, but let me just give you an idea what they kind of look like and wrap your brain around it. There's a lot of engineering to actually make it pull all together. This is the cold air intake scoop. So we take air from below the bumper on the car and ram it up right at this air filter. So it looks like something like that. Slick, man. All right, we're gonna go up in front and I'm gonna show you exactly the different panels that we make that we actually put onto the cars. We pre-make them, we cut them. Again, something else kind of cool for sale. See, I got a couple more up here. Check it out. That's how we flatten out the firewall. Well, let's look at the parts up here. All right, here we are up in the front of my shop, which is actually where we have all our merchandise and stuff. But I laid out some of the parts because I wanted to show you guys, again, when I talk about intentional design and manufacturing, these are all basically the components. They're not all the components, I take it back. This is all the components, which is actually ridiculous of what it takes to actually build the cars. But this is every part that I've designed, worked on, and worked our way through that are the special components, whether we 3D print them, we cut them, sometimes we job it out to like companies go like Oshcut, where if you give them a nice digital file, they can make this for you. So like this is how we flatten out the firewall. This is 4 pieces, this piece, this piece, this piece, and then this is the, what do we call this thing? What was the name for it? It's a dice. It's a dice, it's a 5, it's a lucky 5. No, this is the part that the hoses go through to go back to your vintage inside of it. But there's stuff, you buy these motor mounts and things that don't just fit right. Like these are special plates that we had to make to interface with the motor mount assemblies that we bought, whether it's the LS or the LT4. We actually have different plates that we actually custom made for it. This is like a BIM module mount. These are for the new relics. So the new relics are the power window conversions, but what we found is the motors move inside the doors. I'm not dissing new relics, I kind of like it, but we got to reinforce the doors where the switch is actually at and where the motor actually mounts inside the door. Otherwise the windows jump. Have you guys ever seen that where you hit the down button on some of these aftermarket cars, it goes boom, 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 just like that, boom, 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 like that. It rattles like crazy. So I figured out what was going on with that. This is a fly-by-wire pedal interface that we make. This holds the Highway 22 fuse panel that goes in there. This is for the Unisteer. The Unisteer kits that we buy for the A bodies don't really fit correctly. There's a big gap on both sides, so we made these pieces. I can't even tell you. I don't remember. Something. A widget, a gidget. There's all kinds of parts we had to make, but the reason I'm showing you guys all that stuff is that's certainly not the end of the story. You know, here, come this way a little farther. Making the consoles, you know, we've seen that in the big video where you guys have seen it. We take the OEM consoles, we cut them off, we 3D print this part, we put that in here, we integrate my cup holders, the technology that's in this thing is off the hook. These things are lighted up on the side. If you've seen that, you know, a lot of guys are Chevelle lovers. You've probably seen some of my inventions that are out there, but we put these in all the cars that we build. It's crazy. Let's go take a look, final look at the Black Pearl. I'm gonna put it up in the air so you can see what the chassis actually looks like in the car. I'm gonna show you where the cold air is. I'll show you, come on, let's go look at it. Okay, so here we are by the Black Pearl. This is one of the favorite cars I have built to date. I love the little Craigers on it, right? Look at this. I did the chrome trim ring delete. Look at like this, they look like this. On all the cars. What do you guys think? Tell me what you think. It's cool or not cool? Anyways, let's go inside of the car. Check it out. I'm just finishing up now the rest of the audio stuff. You see my cool Wave, that's the console that we actually sell. So guys, you can go to my website, you can get that. I think they're still on sale. I got this cool lighting we put on this perimeter, and I'm working right now on tidying up what's going up there with the reverse camera. Now, last week you might have seen me put that together. That's so cool. It's got the GPS in it. Right now, what I'm trying to do is figure out, do I want the lights to like be able to be dimmable off of a switch up by the reverse camera, forward camera, reverse camera, or not? And I ordered some more parts to try out, but here, check it out, watch this. I got it kind of soft starting. See how the lights are glowing on, glowing off. And it's those types of details because I'm purposely designing these cars. Let's go to the front. I'm nuts. I'm gonna show you another invention this week too, so don't leave. Not yet time to leave yet. You gotta hang out with me, grab a cup of coffee, grab a beer, whatever it is you gotta do. See how we tied it all together? This is the cold air induction system that you saw out there before, all the way down to the little clamps, every detail. Remember I talked about that thong? I'm gonna show you this over here. Well, boom, this is that metal piece that we fabricated in the other shop. And the reason we built that is it hides and it cleans up all the wiring. Another one of my design ideas. I'm still playing with my coil pack cover enclosures. I'm not quite done with that yet. So the only thing I'm gonna have left to do is tidy up that reverse mirror, which is the coolest thing ever. Wolfbox is the brand I've been using, but I print this whole configuration with the GPS module in it. The reason we're doing this, you could track the car. It always monitors the car, and you have a front and a rear facing camera integrated into it. And then the switches that you just saw going on are right here. That's one of the switches. That's a touch-free switch. I'm not done yet. Anyways, let's go look at the lighting on the car, and then I will show you my next invention that I guarantee you have not seen anywhere on the planet. All right, guys, let's go to the back side of the car. I want you to hear the car run. It's got my Valvetronics that I talked about before, that cool bypass exhaust system on it. It also has sequential tail lights. It even has indicators in the side mirrors. I think that's pretty cool. And I'm just gonna turn on the flashers for a second. Sequential lights, so your brake lights and your turn signals are sequential. In the back, I've got all my audio laid in there, and then I've got my lighting tucked up in a way so it's all indirect. There's a lot of thought and purpose that goes into designing these cars. Listen to that choppy cam. Hold on. Did I say you could open the exhaust? Wait, you gotta hear it. That sounds awesome. I love the way this car sounds. Let's go underneath, see how the chassis ties in. Can't hear anything back here. I love this car. I know you're not supposed to love anything material. So I'm not saying it's like love like you love a person, but as far as cool cars go, is this gorgeous or what? Now, see, remember the chassis I showed you at the other shop? How it's all tied together all the way back and through. Here's that big old cross member I showed you at the other shop. Big drive shaft. That's a 3-inch drive shaft we put in it. I got my cool cutouts for my exhaust. These are made by a company called Valvetronics. Brand new Ford 9-inch rear end. Coilovers. This thing has got the bat wing bar up top. If you can see it, it's up in there, Murph. Yeah, you can see that too well. There you go. Well, we tried to show them. I'm tying up the audio system together, and I just printed another piece. Like, you know how I use the 3D printers to make cool stuff, come up with the idea, put it together, and this has been bugging me for a while. Think old school, like a home stereo. Let me show you. Stop following. Actually, speaking of following, have you guys liked or followed or subscribed to our channel? If you do, hold on. I've been giving away my spinners. There's a girl named Susie. She works in the front office, and I keep giving these things away, and I hear all day, pulling the tape and shipping them out. They're absolutely free. I don't charge you anything. I even pay the freight to get them to you. Why? Because I'm nuts. No, I think you guys are gonna love it. Okay, here's the 70 dash, and here's my challenge. Right, you got the old school type configuration right there, and I don't want to cut it up. I like the chrome, but here's what I came up with. We have many wires to deal with, but what this is a power switch in the middle, and these are 2 VU meters. It's like a volume unit of, I don't know what VU actually stands for. I don't need to be that smart, but it goes right here. Like this. It'll just slide into there, and then I'm gonna put a set of old school knobs. So this will light up. The power button right there will light up when you turn on the audio system. And then we're gonna run 2 old school knobs like this, or similar to this. So you got a volume and a bass controller that'll be integrated right where the original knobs were going. Come on, that's pretty slick. So cool stuff you see here, and something you're never gonna probably see is a hot rod shop doing a Bible study, and it's changed my life. I love it. It's like the best part of the episodes. I like sharing something out of the Word of God. We read it together, we talk about it a little bit. I hope you stick around for it, because it's really pretty darn cool, just like this. Old school. Come on, let's do it. Hey guys, I always talk about doing a little bit of a Bible study, and when I talk about the Bible, it's actually 66 different books, right? You got the New Testament and the Old Testament, and there is a ton of just beautiful wisdom and knowledge in the Word of God, and I really do believe it. In the Bible it says this is a living, breathing Word of God, and it's divine. And I think divine, like from God, yeah, but I think it's awesome how it can actually change your heart and change the way you look at things. And we're in Corinthians. Corinthians, I think, was like a church that was started right after Jesus was hanging out on earth. And then these letters, this is written by a guy named Paul, and they would write to the different churches about like how to do a Christian life, what it meant to be a believer, what it meant to be like born again. So this, I'm in 2 Corinthians 3 right now. I'm going to start with 2. You yourselves are a letter written on our hearts, known and read by everybody. You should show you are the letter from Christ, the result of our ministry, written not only with ink, but in the Spirit of the living God. Not on tablets of stone, but on the tablets of the human heart. Such confidence is ours through Christ before God. Not that we are competent in ourselves to claim anything of ourselves, but our competence comes from God. I love that because it's like, you're not all that in a bag of donuts, right? Neither am I. I love doing what I do with the cars and sharing the inventions, the ideas with you, but I feel like God really has blessed me with those ideas, and He's given me the ability to be creative, right? Everybody says they're creators on the internet and they're all excited about their YouTube channels. dude, we are creations. We are created by God, and you have a purpose in your life. He's got a beautiful plan for you. Be encouraged with that. And if anybody needs a Bible, reach out to me. I will ship them to you for free. And the widget spinner, of course. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this week. Think about it. Let God write with His Holy Spirit on your heart of who you are, what you do, and how you interact with other people. Because sometimes people can be a real pain in the butt. I know I can be. All right, see you next week. It's going to be fun. Get yourself a Bible, spend a little time, ask God to show you. He'll take care of it. Let Him in.